Hi, I'm John Dutton in this building, and yes, we're waiting for Alice Mergler. I've just been put on hold, so Alice is connecting to the phone. So meet Alice. Alice, this is everyone. She's going to get herself.
Hey, Alice.
Okay, I got it.
All right, then you're up. Go for it.
Okay.
Alice, what's up?
Right.
How y'all?
Can
Yeah,
you hear me?
go for it, Alice. Shoot.
Okay. Even in silence, there is music. Music, when soft voices die, vibrates in the memory. The silent year. If I were to analyze the effects of COVID-19 on my 2020, I would first turn to the silence that has permeated my days, my nights, all hours of creeping, crawling silence. This silence is a fog with wrenching actions and words hidden within it. Disguising cold as a strategy, it conceals good or yet indifference, intolerance, privilege. I sometimes feel like shouting, "Find me." I'm still here in my chair listening for a sweet call, something to shoo away the shadows silence provides. So then I turn to the thing that has always soothed my soul, music. Unlike silence, music reaches deep and searches for the magics of fond memories. These moments are like waves lapping over and over again along a pristine beach, calming and giving hope and joy. I am sitting on the stairs on 30th Street, listening to my father singing a hymn while my mom accompanies him on our grand piano. His baritone chords still ripple through my mind, stirring my reverie, knocking away the solemn quiet. Just a minute.
Oh, nice.
Just a minute.
She's going to continue.
A reason that, this electoral college vote is going to get overturned or maybe even
Just a minute, John, okay?
Sure.
I'm having trouble now with my computer. Just a second.
God.
Just a second.
I am concerned about the voter for all of them starting against it, even if it's not enough to impact the outcome of an election in one state. It pollutes the legal votes of all of us when tens of thousands of people have signified an intent to change their.
Alice, do you have the news on by chance?
Just a minute. Just a minute. I did it.
All right.
I'm going back to unlike silence, music never deceives. It is always honest, universal. It can instruct, inform, please. I am practicing for a recital. My mother sits beside me, knitting to the rhythm of the metronome. Lift your hands, Alice. Don't pound the keys. Finesse them. It's ninth grade chorus at Stratford Junior High. Mrs.
Alice? Hello? I lost her. All right.
That woman had poetic gold.
Yeah, she's good. Dee, I hope she calls back and maybe I'll get my character. We'll try.
I hope she calls back too. I like what she had to offer.
Yep. So, all right. So we're just going to continue. I know she's just totally disappointed right now. So, I'll read you what I had. I'm thinking of Kathy with wrestling and Lesley from the form poems. So I pulled out a pantoum that I really like from my wrestling poetry chapbook. This is the pantoum. Two lion cubs circle in the sand, pawing and nipping at each other, wrestling for power and bragging rights. Father standing proud, watching the brothers, pawing and nipping at each other, up on hind legs, chest to chest. Father standing proud, watching the brothers. Boys turn into men before father's eyes, up on hind legs, chest to chest. Wrestling for power and bragging rights. Boys turn into men before father's eyes, two lion cubs circle in the sand. And that was mine for this week. All right. Let's go. D is in California, so we'll go to D. You gotta unmute yourself there, D.
I was writing something in the chat in response to the poem you just read,
Oh,
but I'll do that later.
all right.
I'm going to do two poems for this month in the spirit of Native American Heritage Month. And I'm going to do something different that I haven't done at any other installment of Spilled Ink. I'm going to try to do screen sharing,
Okay.
if it will let me.
Let's check. I think that's security. Screen share. There you go. Should be working.
All right. And the two poems I'm going to share for tonight come out of the website called Flapper Press.
All right.
Created and facilitated by Hollywood actress and two-time national beauty pageant winner, Elizabeth Grayson. And this is an ode to an animal that's always a watcher of the woods. This is called Night Eagle. Dusk hides nothing from the night eagle, himself hidden in the trees, with feathers and wings of sandy hue, bulbous eyes as black as his native grove. Nyctophilian bird watches the wildness in deep darkness, observes change in weather and seasons. From the hollows of oaks, broad branches of redwoods, not a thing escapes his careful, penetrating gaze under the stars. Redmen claim the night eagle is the spirit of one of their departed, brought back to earth in avian form, protective, insightful, wiser than he was in life. He gives a sharp chorus of hoots, spreads his wings and flies after intruders on the ground, chasing those field rats back to holes within nightly abyss before the slow coming of day. The night eagle, watcher of the woods, winged sandy hue, black eyes, is my spirit animal, according to a spinning color wheel on an iPad, under a table, on a table, under a tent. A pretty blonde park ranger directed me to. During the stand for the Redwoods Festival, Yerba Buena Gardens, SF, color wheel rotated clockwise. By the touch of my index finger on screen, then slowed in pace. Right side arrow landed on yellow, northern spotted owl. I don't believe in this spirit animal nonsense at all, but the traits the fabled night eagle has, vigilance, insight, wisdom, lie in me nonetheless.
Oh. Very nice.
And that poem was called Night Eagle, which is my ode to the northern spotted owl of Northern California. And the last poem I'm about to do also comes from Flapper Press a year later. It's one of two indigenous themed poems. The second one also has an animal in it, and it's also based on an actual event. This one is an attempt at magical realism. This is called Spirit Horse. Every spring, as trees sprout new leaves, Aboriginal nation reflects and grieves long after justice failed them one most slight. They remembered a beloved sister's departure from her family's sight. At close range, muzzle flash from a policeman's gun. Panic from a petite Diné woman. Dissipated, her life was done. Street-bound transition from flesh to spirit. Hoofbeats pound a steady gallop, and only she could hear it. Sky blue eyes, gray spotted body, stray horse drew near with a neigh. Instinctively she knew it came to carry her away from a white man's world that's shown her nothing but disrespect. She climbed onto the steed's bare back, wrapped her arms around its massive neck, and finally rode off on a distant course to her peaceful, eternal repose on the spirit horse.
Very nice. Very
That
nice.
last poem was called Spirit Horse in memory of Winslow, Arizona police brutality victim L'Oreal Sinigny, 1989 to 2016. Rest in peace. And now I'm about to step out of screen sharing now. From this computer mic to your ears, I'm D. Allen. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Dave. Very nice. Very nice. All right. All right, Kathy Smaltz, you are up. Kathy Smaltz, take it away. Oh, no, got on mute. Try it again. There you go.
Okay. There's an irony in what I'm about to share. All right. Lines of girls on a grassy field under the white lights trying to kick their soccer ball into the white net at field's end while coach and the goalie block, ponytails bounce, feet maneuver. The older I get, the more confused I am as to my purpose, which has become sitting in parking lots while my daughters kick soccer balls and swim. When my husband does this, I stare out the window at home, across from the kitchen, waiting for the rice to soften, stirring it sometimes so it doesn't stick. I've worked all day, so I'm tired, but not in a way that makes me want to sleep. A few years ago, I thought I had figured it out. Serve others, be kind, pray, work hard, but don't overwork or become addicted to busyness, production. Now I see my life waning, the full waxy moon of it disappearing piece by piece in the night sky until just a sliver's left. Like most, I spent a lot of my time pursuing pleasure, but now the list of pleasures dwindles or sends my body or peace of mind. Oh yes, or spends my body or peace of mind as its currency. Sometimes instead of rushing to cover myself, I pretend I look the way I used to as a girl or even a younger woman. But even my smile collects wrinkles and I press my belly with my palms to flatten it and then push the two sides together so there's a path between my halves where one could wedge quarters, making coins disappear. But this is no magic trick. Sometimes I think I'd like my body to disappear before my life does. Trick the Reaper or God or whatever it is in the universe that made us this way, to make our bodies hungry when young and alone, and to extinguish that appetite and replace it with a desire for salty, sweet, cream-filled things and alcohol, which makes me forget. I am still sitting in the mostly darkness of my minivan watching my daughter and her team scrimmage. I remember wearing that yellow mesh, its sour smell, the unraveling of its banded seam, the way we'd rip it off, both sad and happy to be rid of it, toss it in the pile for our coach to collect without a second thought. The adults in my life like extras in a movie, absolutely necessary to the spinning of my planet, yet as superfluous as the stars in the night sky. So my daughter has questions sometimes, and it's my job to be there with wisdom and money. The rest of the time, when she chooses her friends, or even when I'm the one she wants, I remember I am an actress in a play someone's writing, and I don't want to miss my cameo on her stage, even though my time to star in my own life runs short.
Oh, Wonderful. I'm connecting with you right now. Yes, I am. I know that feeling. Excellent. Excellent job, Kathy. Thank you very much. Let's go to Michael Crowley. Michael Crowley, take it away. Hopefully we get some song again. I'm always looking forward to that.
This is not a song night.
Not a song night? Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, the first one is called My Mistakes. My mistakes haunt me. The memories come unbidden of things I have done, or might have done, or could have done better, or should have done that I didn't. They are memories of embarrassment of one kind or another. So many of the actions of the moral man cause embarrassment when viewed against the ideal that will never be realized. The embarrassment is born from a past which we treasure, even though we know memory is unreliable and our past a fiction constructed from capricious recollections haunting. Flashbacks of times gone by, they come and they go, mostly fleeting. Of course, some of them will return for an encore guest appearance. Okay, that's the first one. And now I'm going to do another excerpt from the novel, The Interdimensional Taxi Driver. This is titled the section Noodles. It was the best of noodles. It was the worst of noodles. I stared into my enormous saucer of alphabet soup. Kumquat, bumfuzzle, titty nope, wheedle. I looked across the table at the goldfish's bowl, willing it to tell me what letters he held. I bet too much, but I'm having trouble reading for some reason. But Itrog needed me, and I needed him more. I ladled bumfuzzle into my playing plate, 2 oyster crackers and a Ritz. I tried to remain calm, or at least not show how terrified I was. His rear fin wiggled. Damn, was he really that confident, or was it a bluff? He ladled taradiddle into his plate. I see you and raise you 10 triscuits, he gurgled. The crowd around us hiccuped and burped. One bird-like creature even whistled what resembled an excerpt from the beer barrel polka. I called my opponent a goldfish, but he more closely resembled a rainbow trout. It was just that his pie hole was perfectly round. The resemblance was also marred by the hummingbird-like wings that kept him steady in the air. He didn't blink. Of course, having no eyelids, there was no way he could. Okay, and the final one is Nature's Bounty. I may have to love nature because she's my mama, but if I wasn't tied by accident of birth, I'm not sure I'd want anything to do with her. My love for her is not blind. I can see her faults. For one, she's prone to extravagant excesses. How else can you explain bugs? Bees pollinate pollen, okay, so she's armed them. That I can understand. But billions of invincible cockroaches? Where does she get off? I mean, there's just no excuse for those things. Show a little restraint, Mama. Use a bit of common sense and we'll all be better off. It's like she's got this enormous power, right? And what does she do with it? Build something, maybe? No, not her. She's got to hurl massive amounts of earth, air, fire, and water, all the ancient elements around the planet, wrecking things like a spoiled child. And she seems to be totally unable to make up her mind. Take the weather, it's daylight. The sun is so hot, it's sucking up the moisture from your body, like a preschooler with a paper straw, but you make it. You ration your water and you make it through the day. So what does Mama do? She couldn't get you with the heat, so she turns on the air conditioning and tries to freeze you out. Eat a bran muffin, Mama. Maybe you start to show some consistency. About the only consistency she ever does show is if you like it, it's booby trapped. You go outside. It's a warm, sunny day, blue skies, warm breezes, sunburn, peeling, skin cancer. You need sunlight, but she's loaded it with lethal rays like some B-grade mad scientist, Madame Curari. And if it tastes good, it's going to plug up your veins like a stopper. I do love you, Mama. I'm still alive. There's flowers and music and poetry. But it would hurt you to take some self-improvement courses like I'm okay and you're not so bad yourself. Something to make you aware that there are other people with real feelings and concerns who don't like it when you rain on their parade. Mama, you're going to have to learn to play nice with the rest of us kids. That's it.
That is classic. Oh my gosh.
Wonderful.
Oh, that was wonderful, Michael. That was wonderful. Thank you for that. Oh, and I will always tell you, I like your interdimensional taxi driver as well. I think someday when you sell the movie rights, I think we all need to play some cameo appearances in there because it's going to be good. I mean, it was wonderful as well. Let's go. John Cowgill. I'll go to the other side of the screen. John Cowgill, where are you?
The drain.
There he is.
I am here.
Good.
All righty. I have two little stories. And the first one, as you know, it's Thanksgiving. And well, it's Thanksgiving in less than 2 weeks. So I decided to give you a little story of Thanksgiving by Albert Owls. Hello, everybody. I am Albert Owls. Who am I? I am someone who came up with this story about Thanksgiving. What is this story about Thanksgiving? Allow me to tell you, but first we must go way, way, way back to a time in history. It first began with a wealthy man named Aristogus. He lived in very ancient Rome. At the time, he saw many without money, so he established banks across Rome. That day was known as Banksgiving. Later, King Atropaces and Queen Sophocles of the Nabatenos kingdom were without child, and they were going up in age. They needed their heir to continue the kingdom. Someone then surrendered a child to be a child of the royal family, and they took him in. While the royal family was in the palace, the child became very cranky, complaining about everything. That day of the child's arrival was forever named Cranksgiving. Subuluk was a hot dog vendor in ancient Joppa. Every day he sold hot dogs to everyone on the street. But one day he came upon a school and they had nothing to eat. But they did not have any money. So Subuluk gave his hot dogs to the children and they ate them up. That day was known as Franksgiving. Veronicaca of Shopnees was a princess without a prince, but no man wanted to marry her. Even though the man would be offered an opportunity to rule the kingdom, they all avoided her until a man named Hank arrived. They got married and they lived happily ever after. That day was marked as Hanksgiving. Jessica of Tresses was kidnapped by the pirates of Waterhole. A ransom was sent for her, but it was never paid. Therefore, the pirates made her walk the plank. She frightfully walked into the end and stood there in fear. The captain walked over to her and shoved her off, and she fell into the ocean. On that day, the pirates of Waterhoe celebrated Planksgiving. Today was a day in Volga Hall Harbor. Thousands of ships were anchored, awaiting the time to come into the port to offload their goods. Then all of a sudden, all at once, all the ships sank. Everyone was flabbergasted at what they saw. That day was forever known as Thanksgiving. It was a long journey for some journeymen arriving to the New World. As they stepped off the ship, they knelt to the ground and prayed to Almighty God to thank him for a safe passage across the sea. That day was forever known as Thanksgiving, and this was the best special day ever since. Now you know my story of Thanksgiving. I am Albert Owls. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And would you all like to know where the first Thanksgiving actually took place?
I would.
Where?
John, is that a cliffhanger? Are you going to tell us or not?
Are you going to tell us?
No, it's a cliffhanger.
It actually took place just east of Richmond, Virginia. And a lot of people don't know about the story because it's not popularized, because they're more know about the story that took place in Massachusetts, which actually happened later on. So many firsts we have in the state of Virginia. But in the meantime, let me read the next story. And it's called The Story of Tammy on This Thanksgiving. There was a nice young woman named Tammy who was walking home one Thanksgiving Eve. She was walking alongside of the road when a cab pulled up. "Need a lift?" The cab driver was very polite. "We're going the same way. It will cost you nothing." She was skeptical at first. "Why not?" she said as she stepped into the car, and they went their way. "So nice of you to give me a free cab ride," she said as she was putting her on her seatbelt. "This is my first cab ride." "The reason you're riding in this cab is someone had already paid your fare," he said, driving along. "Paid my fare?" She was curious. "Who knew that I was going to ride this cab?" He replied, "Them." She was terrified as the turkeys jumped from the back seat and tied her up, and they bagged her face so that she could not scream. She fought to free herself, but the ropes were too tight. She felt them pull off her boots and her socks. The cab stopped, and she was dragged out the car along a dirt path onto a hard surface. The bag was removed from her face, and she saw herself surrounded by turkeys. She looked at the one place where they were bringing out the stuffing. She looked up, and she watched as the turkey swung his axe at her neck. That afternoon, the turkeys were enjoying their meal. Gobble, 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 gobble. And let's wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, John, I love them. I love all the wordplay in the first one. I think I'm going to use Cranksgiving with my students. Yes, Cranksgiving. I loved it. Thank you, John. All right, we have a new first timer with us, John. I don't even know John's last name, but John, I've been conversing with John during the Virginia Writers Club. So I asked him to join us and read us some of his pieces. So John, take it away.
Take it away. Okay. This is how many of you get the Reedsy emails about contests and stuff? Anybody? Well, they got one today. They do one a week, and $50 prize, but it's all driven by their topic. So they give you a list of topics, and then you get to choose your topic. So this is one that I chose. The topic is Start with a lie and end with the truth. I'm going to say it. I know you can't read that. There's my illustration.
All right. And John, afterwards, why don't you put that, whatever you mentioned in the chat for the content?
Oh, okay. All right.
All right.
I'll copy the email address and put it in the chat.
Cool. Thank you.
Missy ached, a truth knowing at her core, her soul, her reason. She turned her back to Charlotte, her best friend and 11th grade classmate. The girl stood before the mirror in Charlotte's bathroom. Charlotte applied a skin cream to her face. She loved Charlotte. She adored Charlotte. "You are so beautiful," she said. Charlotte smiled appreciatively. "So are you, and mature. Too serious, though." Missy frowned. "Nothing like you. I always felt this way about you. You are perfect. Boys like you. You have tons of friends. You are on the field hockey team. You are," she hesitated, "desirable." Charlotte blushed. "Oh, you're a lot prettier. Why so glum?" "Because," Missy probed for the right words. Charlotte turned her face to her friend, placing her hands on Missy's shoulders and then cupping her face to arrange her downturned lips into a smile. She took Missy's long blonde hair in her hands and ran her fingers through it. Missy offered a weak sigh of satisfaction. "Because of what happened, I need to talk to you about the other night." "The other night?" "Yes, the party. I need to tell you." Charlotte clapped her hands in mock celebration. "Oh, I love secrets. Is it good? A boy? Did you?" She stalled. Missy smiled, caressing Charlotte's thick auburn hair, lifting it off her shoulders, assessing the dress she was wearing. How Charlotte had matured over the 3 years of their friendship. Their parents brought the two girls together over dinner at the country club when each was 13. Reserved, Charlotte's exuberance captivated her. The moment struck Missy with awe, with admiration, with a pubescent intoxication. As time passed, Missy's older brother drew them closer together, but it was a short-lived fascination as other boys circled around her. Distracted, Charlotte toyed with her skirt, touching her torso for its fit. "Does this flatter my figure?" she asked. "I want to look good for my date with Ben tonight." The conversation shifted. Missy needed to talk to her. "Are you wearing anything over it?" Charlotte giggled. "Well, duh. But you never know, right?" She winked. "Never know, right? Never know." She circled back. "About the party last week, the accident." Charlotte darkened. "Oh, well, that was sad. I don't remember much about it." "What party?" Missy placed her arms on the long vanity behind her. "The party. You drank a lot. We all did. You disappeared for about an hour, and I wondered where you were. I wanted to go home. I went upstairs and saw you and Brad in the bedroom. Well, you know, so I went back downstairs. It was really loud. I asked Chet if he would take me home, but he said, nah, he was having too much fun. Whose house was that? Who provided the liquor? I think I drank too much. I didn't feel well, like I was going to get sick. I just wanted to go home. I crashed on the sofa next to another couple. I don't know for how long I was there, but I fell asleep, and you woke me up. It must have been late. Most of the kids were gone." Charlotte frowned. "Okay, escapes me, so we left. Who drove my car?" Missy shuddered. "One of the boys, Brad, I think. He was drunk. We were all tossed. And you passed out in the front seat. I was in the back. He played with the radio loud, laughing, touching you." Charlotte lifted an eyebrow. "Oh, is that your secret? Brad fondled me?" She laughed. No, it was the accident." Charlotte's composure shifted to serious, attentive. "The accident?" Missy sobbed. "Yes. He lost control of the car. The car rolled. He hit a tree. The impact threw both of you out of the car. The car rolled over on you. And I was in the back seat. It just happened so quickly. I mean, it seemed slow, but it was quick. I remember hitting my head on the ceiling. Then it ended. A scream, a screech, but it ended. I crawled out of the car and you were on the ground there. And Brad was next to the car." Missy took a breath. "He died? Oh my God, how awful." She hesitated. "I didn't really know him, of course, but Brad, dead." She collected her thoughts again. "Well, it must be hard on his folks. I didn't know." Missy continued. "My secret is that he was not the only one." Charlotte thought about this. Just the three of us in that car? You seem alive. Someone on the road, a pedestrian maybe? Missy looked to the floor. Seconds passed before she looked up at Charlotte, into Charlotte's eyes. Charlotte processed the events. I remember coming home. I must have walked. My parents were quite upset about something. So I just said hello and I went to my room. My mother came in later, but he didn't say anything. I was so trash. I just went to sleep. I skipped school the next day, just not up to it. Hung out. My parents just mumbled and cried. I didn't ask. Her friend said, it was my fault. I was so angry with you. You and Brad in bed messing around, leaving me downstairs. I just wanted to go home. And when you and Brad finally showed up, you fell on me. I was on the sofa and I pushed you off of me and you yammered about how much you loved me and laughed. And I told Brad to drive us home. Your car keys were in your pocket. I got them out and gave him the keys. Charlotte drew out her words. Okay. So Missy wanted to hold her, but knew this was pointless. I walked home. There was nothing I could do. I mean, it was too late. Well, that was rude. I thought we were better friends. She turned to take the dress off a coat hanger and hooked on the back of the bathroom door. It was a loose flowery print. So I love you. I told my parents I didn't want to ride in the car, so I walked home. Your lie? You could have told the truth about it. I didn't want to get involved. I mean, nothing I could do. I mean, Brad was dead and you, well, I knew. Charlotte's voice rose in anger. You could have helped me. How long did I lay there anyway? Obviously, I got home. Missy shook her head, crying. Charlotte slipped into the dress. She examined her reflection. Satisfied, she tugged at it. Fussed with the folds. Minutes passed. Missy drew a breath. I'm sorry. Charlotte put her hand to Missy's lips. I didn't go with you and Brad. I stayed at the party. I drove myself home. I went to bed. Charlotte's eyes widened. But they were crying. Well, sure, they were coming home from dinner with friends. They saw the car accident. And you and Brad were in the car. His car. That's the truth of it. Ta-da!
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
I was like ghost stories. That's good. Thank you. Let's David Holloway. David Holloway.
All right, I'm here.
You are, all right. You want me to?
You can record it. That's fine.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
This is a flash piece called Julie. Was it because you went all, teen wolf? Jeff asked. It wasn't about the beard, I said. Billy, you'd leave her if she grew a beard, Larry said, and burst into a high-pitched giggle at his own lame joke. I'm cutting Larry off. Jeff handed me the vodka. No, I am full of wind. Larry threw his hands up and wobbled dangerously on his stool. I put the vodka back in the freezer, taking a minute to change the iPod to shuffle. We'd just come back from a Marlins game and we're in my kitchen trying to decide whether to call it a night or go back out. Seriously, why are women that way? Why do they expect us to change the way we act, change the things we do, change the friends we have for them? We worship them. Can't that be enough? I asked. She wanted you to change your friends? Jeff ran his hand through his hair. What's wrong with us? You are not full of wind, Larry said. You are a vodka taker. Julie was okay with you two, and just in general. She did comment on Larry's drinking. And Jeff, she kind of hates you haven't cleaned your car inside or out in 2 years. And you always wear jeans and a plain black t-shirt. But really, no, you guys, you're not the problem. It's my signature look. Jeff waved his hand at the black t-shirt he wore. Has been, ever since we met in 9th grade. It was the bowling, wasn't it? Larry asked. Yeah, that time you missed her best friend's wedding to go bowling, Jeff said. Luann wasn't her best friend, just a college roommate, and Julie got over that. I explained that it was a tournament semifinal. Hey, remember that time your brother Steve tried to diss you in front of her, Jeff said? Yeah, big Steve shriveled like a salted slug, Larry said. I didn't even think Julie knew those words, I said, and got up to grab a bag of chips from the cupboard by the sink. I tore it open, took a handful, and passed it on to Jeff. What about that trip to the Keys? Jeff pulled a handful of chips out and passed the bag. I remember how good Julie looked in her bikini. Larry smiled and looked up at the ceiling. She talked the grocer into selling us that huge Florida lobster he had in his tank as a sales display. The damn thing must have weighed 10 pounds, I said. Yeah, Jeff remembered. We cooked it over the bonfire, ate lobster, drank beer, smoked weed until we passed out on the beach. I woke up at 3 a.m, and here's Julie wading out of the ocean in that red bikini with the water just shining all around her, I said. Bioluminescence. Larry sprayed bits of potato chips as he spoke. Shut up. There's nothing worse than a drunk science nerd. I handed Larry a paper towel and made a wiping notion to start him cleaning up the chip crumbs he'd sprayed onto the counter. Yeah, and then we all went bridge jumping. Not those little pissy canal bridges either. The big bridge on the causeway. Jumping off into the dark with the stars reflected in the water so far below, it was like jumping into outer space, Jeff said. That bridge is effing high, Larry said. I can't believe we survived. We were higher than the bridge. That's why we survived. I can't believe that Julie jumped first, I said. The other girls just screamed at us not to do it. Don't worry, buddy. I'm sure you'll find another girlfriend just as good real soon. Maybe even better, Jeff patted my back. Yeah, Larry said. You know, fish in the sea, bus every 15 minutes, yada, yada. So it must have been sex, huh? You tried to get her to do that thing with the chicken, didn't you? Larry, I'm not even sure that thing with the chicken is sex. You're the only person crazy enough to even think it's real, I said. Come on, bud. We've got to know what it was. I mean, you'll feel better if you talk about it. She just got mad when I said something to her. I didn't think she'd take it personally. What was it? Larry asked. I told her, there's no such thing as a cool girl. That's it.
Thank you, David. Yes, that would get anybody in hot water. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Lesley, Tyson, take it away.
Okay. I'm going to rewrite this poem as I read it, I think. It's called Almanac. And with the weather we had the other day on Veterans Day, which really washed it out. Outside, cold rain clicks on new fall or old fall leaves. Dirty quarter found on the bike path tunnel challenges graffiti stating X was here. Inside mid-century modern distance itself, entertaining cats with dreams of being a writer, waiting for imaginary Bond's substitute lover to join the conspiracy to drive me to despair. I imagine standing in jeans, t-shirt, and shawl at the window of a house I don't remember, while Billy Collins and Buddha shovel the snowy path, even as trees, fall leaves, and sour growth fade, and headlines proclaim the easing of lockdown restrictions. I study a scrap from a letter and try to remember who was planning to walk 3 minutes down an alley to find a flattened water bottle with a label printed in a foreign language with an open-winged griffin reading bedtime stories to children and waving goodnight. I walk to the door and hear from the other side that hope won't arrive until tomorrow's delivery. Pictured on a postcard of the fountain in a lake, that the fear I won't be able to explain, it is home. And when did I say I was going to do? Oh, okay. Yeah, these are sort of the most COVID things I have, I guess. It's called Social Withdrawal. I was afraid the distance would be difficult to maintain, that I was too close to the moment to step back. Important to stay engaged to ensure you garnered the correct news. Then I realized you view the world through warped lenses that complement mine. Two differences focused on the same point, creating heat to generate words to explain truth. I can view from safety, stepping back much easier. Now necessity of proof fades into the sunset. Oh yeah, this is a parody of murder mystery investigations called Follow Breadcrumbs. It isn't as easy as easy following breadcrumbs. My evidence isn't that obvious, too often imputed from irrelevant comparison. Footsteps aside from the muddy mush have followed the leader mindless, often ignored, a story from some other crime too long unsolved. Too many wasted investigations along too many divergent paths, along the clarty rut of usual, carefully chosen steps never entirely intersecting with the main road, spaced enough to be quite separate, neither follower nor stalker. I wear my own comfy shoes, just different enough not to be envied, just similar enough not to be noticed, as solace or threat, almost part of the crowd. I branch out from my explorations, never to be exactly in the expected place. I won't take the blame for everyone else walking off cliffs while I was smelling roses.
Thank you, Lesley. I love the last one. Because I watch way too many crime dramas, and so I was like, all I could think was like, oh, this is like NCIS or something where they're breaking down the criminal, the profiling of the criminal. So thank you for that, Lesley. Let me see. Let's go to Robbie Rise Krieger. Robbie Rise.
What's up, y'all? Robbie Rise here. So I just started a blog, pages of jackpatch.blogspot.com. That's my third. That's like my pen name, Jack Patch, like a patch of grass or a patch of woods, a safe space. So excuse the 3 different names, but check out that blog later. Anyways, I'm doing a part of my epic on the Appalachian Trail hike. We've been through 3 states, Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee, and we're moving into our 4th state, Virginia, and you guys have been here the whole time with me. Here goes. The next morning goes in the memoir as a passage of the posts. This section I no longer had to spar. After the monotony of another march, I came upon the crossroad and my palate was fairly parched. Chucked out of the Cherokee, I was flung into the Jefferson National Forest, gladly landing with glee. My vigor graced me. I am in Virginia. Words cannot describe the delight of entering my home, the old Dominion, notch in the belt of a night. Finishing off the evening with the flock, I met up with Typo and Mouse. In jolly celebration, we did squawk. Before settling at our border site, though, Typo and I leveled on a log. Sitting at the table of tranquility, we found our way through the fog. Descending into Damascus with the dawn, I was entranced by early spring as light green leaves gave a yawn. Overlooking those colors of April and the spires of serenity, I observed the friendliest town in the mountain valley of its identity. Coming down from the clouds, I stepped onto her street. Perhaps the pebbles were proud. Walking on White Blaze Avenue, I took my dirt over to Dave's place, washing off the weeds, doing my best to try and save face. Joining up with the others at Hey Joe's, we held a hiker's powwow, biting into our burritos. Che, Elliot, Goose, and I, a seemingly minuscule moment, yet this poem I will pry, open like a can to unscrew, delivering you the details of an odyssey anew. So after lunch, we split. The soggy overcast squashed my enthusiasm, I must admit. Carrying on past the Broken Fiddle and Crazy Larry's, I caught up with the Creeper Trail after a milkshake, delicious dairy. The stoicism of those stairs had me inching up the incline, uphill snares. The stern, dry ridge site left me to its lair, pained by the pressure of an unrelenting storm and the awkward angle on this mound I tried to conform. Molding into the earth, my mind was off the moisture, soaking my stuff for all it was worth. When I woke, everything was an egg of sliced yolk, spilled onto my sleeping pad, but I did not let the rain ruin this lad. All right, here we go. Today's stanza was a tad short as I whimpered on the ridge, nearly folding on my fort. We kept pace with the creeper, parallel to her plants, old train taken by a grim reaper. The rusty iron bridge croaks under the bikers as I weave my feet through 58, my flag for the hikers. Stopping in at Lost Mountain Shelter, I carved out a cocoon, too tired to tent, cast back into the commune. In the throes of 3 a.m., fellow hikers said a tree fell, hit by the high winds, elm or maple, it yielded to the yell. Lo and behold, John was in his hammock the whole night, swinging and swaying in the howling air like a kite, secure in our wooden shell. I don't know how he did it. High winds to him are not some kind of hell. You lived up to your name, Lost Mountain. Among the depths of the dark, the earthly towers trembled as the current crashed into their bark. Last one. Now it's time to navigate north, slipping in flooded streams. This flickering light will go forth. The springs and sources overflowed onto trail, seeping into the veins of this soft soil. The waters continued to wail. Hopping and leaping over root and rock, I was humbled by the hill that motioned me toward Mount Rogers, a summit silent and still. At over 5,700 feet, she stands as the highest peak, holding vigil for Virginia in the Commonwealth. She is unique. The wild horses of the Grayson highlands grazed in the alpine meadow, crunching and munching. To this misty bald their existence they owe. Boulders, grass, and stone, an orange-green Appalachian mesa where a mountainous wind does moan, parting from this unforgettable plateau. I declined with the day, stumbling into wise shelter. I was all smiles, tackling 1/4 of the trail. I had hiked 500 miles.
Robbie, I love it. Oh, I want to know, Rob, were you writing as you walked, or how do you put this together? Like, or is your memory, are you like a savant where you're just like, you remember all this stuff?
No. I actually, I just kept notes on my my phone actually, every night in my tent.
All right, cool. I was wondering how you put this together.
Yeah, yes,
awesome job, Robbie. Awesome job. Thank you very much. All right, Brian Donald James, take it away. You are up.
Good evening. You guys are awesome. It's been really good tonight. Yeah, it's good all the time, but you know. I have 2 pieces tonight. First one is called Recollections of the South. She was to me a single drop of water, brushed along the dry, cracked lips of a tired laborer. She became to me a heavy rain, densely veiled in mist. There was no vision in her storm. She inspired me with her loveliness in dawns and twilights of violet, where birds tweet and crows caw. She ignited within me the anger of raging rivers, leaving broken trees ripped and uprooted by her chaos wayside. Yes, I recall, this is how I loved her. She was to me a single seed planted in famine, deep within the rich black soil of the Delta. She preached a ministry of kindness and cruelty, and brought to me the sustenance of honey and the sourness of vinegar. She held summer captive in her blush, her lips, her kiss, so I could never settle in a season or time. And this love, born in the death of a rebel's cry, upon black backs cracked in fields, branded and bonded with iron, no longer has grasped, it seems, on souls that are thirsty, longing for peace and serenity, but she leaves behind only faith and tears to quench windpipes covered in thorns, and ashes are still faintly smoldering, making her promises hard to trust. Yet still she lives in my core, so I yield to her beauty. Yes, this is how I cared. She became to me a foregone forever, lost in the handshakes and nods from strangers in small towns. She became to me lifetimes lost, with the loyalty and betrayal of the stars and bars of Dixie. Come, sit a spell. She will lull you to sleep and seduce you. She will become one with you. Yes, I recall. This is how I loved her. And I normally don't explain my poems, but her is just referring to the South. And then this piece is a ode to Miss Arlene Gutnick. She was a fabulous teacher and friend, and it's just a tribute to all teachers, really. Ode to Arlene is the name of the piece. A mature Jewish woman, small in stature, warm in heart, meticulously dressed, down to her pearl drop earrings, a small beauty mark resting upon her cheek. She is smiling now. A black boy, unrefined but kind, walks with a swagger and spits rhymes in hallways to beatbox rhythms. When your colleagues called me a thug, an underachiever, you said that I was an urban Shakespeare. You said that I am worthy. You made me feel worthy. You celebrated my words and lifted me so that even after this life of successes and failures and decades past, I still feel worthy. You celebrated my words and helped a little black boy love himself, love his art with your open-minded love and acceptance. My ally in a world full of turmoil, upon your journey and transition to grace and tranquility, you removed veils and prejudices and left me with purity. Not just a Jewish teacher, not just a black boy. You are my friend. So with every completed poem and with gratitude and love, I feel you smiling now. Yes, she is smiling now. Thank you.
Wow, that's powerful, John or Brian. That was awesome. Oh my gosh. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Brian. Oh, let's go. Let me see. Megan McDonald. Here we go. All right, Megan, take it away.
So got a quick question for you. Since I have Cat Interruptus here, I'm thinking of substituting one of my poems. Since they're all short, should I do all three or just do two?
If you can get it by the Cat Interruptus, go. If you can do three, go ahead and do three. If you can get two and before he takes you away, just do two, depending on the cat.
Okay, breathe. In the space between breaths, calm comes. In a rare moment of solitude, we can almost forget daily drums, where we can travel away, rush viewed, with rarely a glimpse of the distance. We come to peace, aloneness with self. It is choosing passive resistance. To scour in vain the last empty bookshelf. Alone in the company of cats, you find distilled, unlocked memories. Pick up pen, turn off TV, and bureaucrats for solo and distance, the best remedies. Find calm in creating an inner song, for together, alone, we belong. Coping. In lament of unsung words, when choosing joy over sorrow, it is almost impossible. I say let's write on frogs and snakes glowing blue, but every day the pen stutters at humor and our joy is pinned down, butterfly wings, specimens stuck on exhibition. We are wind but cannot cope, cannot fly away. There is no goddess awakening, no inner light illuminating the way of truth. In the scope of isolation, we come to existence over solstice. We cope, but can we thrive? And then the final one is infinite. In the infinite, seeking of a good vibe, you know, is hidden in the blues. Rise up to join the dance. A good vibe, you know, that 3/4 time is where you find a rising moon that shines down soft and low. 3/4 time, slow and long, that shines down soft and low, where moods left. Slow and long, like a long sip of golden honey wine, where moods left, if only for a dance. Like a long sip of golden honey wine, hidden in the blues for the length of a dance, seeking the infinite. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. I love your cat interruptus. I think that needs to be a poem sometime. I really do. And you can unleash your inner Harry Potter, because when you said it, I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a spell from Harry Potter. All right, so cat interruptus. All right, let me see. We have a couple more. Let's go Katherine Gotthardt. Katherine Gotthardt, take it away.
All right, can I share screen also or no?
I think it's still on, so try it.
Okay. Yes, I think I can.
There you go.
All right, so this is, I wrote this, and Robbie, I thought of you, and the funny part about it, well, I'll tell you the funny part about it after, because I certainly didn't hike the whole trail by any stretch. So this is called Shenandoah. That afternoon, we lost our way on the Appalachian Trail. December, and an inexplicable wind had picked up, morphing chipped leaves into funnel and cloud, sucking the path skyward, sending scraps of fall into our eyes. How we rubbed to clear them, tearing up as we walked, racing sunset back to the parking lot. You don't want to drive in that kind of dark. The hills will swallow you whole, glasses and high beams and all. That's how the conversation turned morbid. You remembering our mother, me remembering every pet that had ever passed, talk of falling off mountains, both of us catching ourselves on walking sticks as we tripped on rocks frequently traveled. It wasn't like we had hiked for miles. It wasn't like we'd passed into other states, overshot some critical split or blaze. No, there stood stone posts, steel placards, etchings and arrows to guide us, making the journey more obvious. But all that dead foliage rising, amazing those things we let blind us. So the funny part about that is we probably walked like 45 minutes, Robbie.
Done my share of day hikes. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Just got to get out in nature, right?
That's right. That's right. We were at Big Meadows.
Oh yeah, it's a nice spot. I love the old backyard there, as I call it, Shenandoah's.
That's all I get tonight. And John, you're on mute.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Katherine. I think Thomas Burson, take it away. Unmute yourself there, Tom.
I did. There we go. This first one, I half read it because of the title. It's called Spells of Ink. The moon has its phases. Her hands told stories if you followed the shifts of ink. She wore gloves, long ones that reached up to her elbows. Men dreamed about her bare flesh would feel, how her caresses would stir embers to flames. Men are fools. Hands are power. The stories they hold do more than clench power, beckon love, set flight when creation demands beginnings. Once before, her hair was snow, when dreams still stirred in her heart. A prince among men, a tender understanding, who left no shower of dust when walking across the sands. At first, he must be a djinn, she thought. But soon enough, he proved mortal, magical, and the moisture that melted her heart. She opened her heart, removed her gloves, let him discover the secrets her hands could provide. At first, he marveled, declared it was more aspect of her stunning beauty. Soon as shifts occurred, secrets of ways to awaken others' envy, used desire as power, create an oasis others would soil themselves to visit, he changed. Instead of looking into her eyes, he snatched her gloves away. Instead of listening to her sing, he only wanted to follow the changes in the ink, the tattoo her beating heart created when he entered, slowed, grew quiet, and finally became as still as tears. A sea that drowned her eyes. Love perished. She heeded the vision of her hands brought when held against her heart, and when covering her eyes, she keeps herself above despising the weakness in men. Learn to cultivate their need for sound advice, the way their egos struggled to be seen as important. Love was no longer her calling. She became an oracle. People traveled far and wide to see. She could see tomorrow, the times and tides of good fortune. She could grasp where others were lying and when they were honest at heart. She had her answer to how to be valued, how to seduce others to provide for her what they could not provide for herself. Sadly, there was no answer for her sorrow, no arrow of love that would pierce the center of her heart.
Wonderful, Tom. Dr. Thomas, Dr. Love person right there.
Yeah, well now this one is a little bit more on that same vein. That was sort of like my version of the tattooed man, if you're familiar with that story. Now this one is about shoes. It's always good to know what your foundations are for every occasion. She bent down, undid the strap, and eased off the shoe. Her hair fell off the left side of her shoulder. She looked up as if I was a distraction. The shoe, red, high-heeled, the heel of a graceful curve down to a spike that held all of her beauty. An angel dancing on the head of a pin. The sun setting flooded the room with the warmth of soft red, peaches, reminders of all that lived in her heart as she balanced the day's care and how she cared for everyone in it. She smiled, lifted up the last shoe as it came free from her foot. A woman's life is always in the balance. Will the well of her caring be graced by the filling rain of love? Can she continue to maintain her grace even after the heel breaks? She turned and rose from the chair, lifted the shoes and put them away carefully. One can only hope to be cared for so well. As if carefully creating a spell, she removed the slippers from their place, a shimmer of a dressing gown, lace and presents, her smiles filling the room. She perched upon the edge of a chair, the hair falling over the shoulder, the color of sunsets upon her feet. Finally, ready, she looked upon me. Stage set, foundation in place. With a brief moi, hand raised to me, dear, each scene in life must be founded upon feet, dressed for the occasion. A soft laugh, chills as it thrills. Dreams come to fruition when I take off her shoes.
Nicely done, Thomas. Nicely done.
You know.
I'm almost ready. Sometimes we have to go take a cold shower after your poem.
I like to read a good story, you know?
Yes, you do. Thank you very much. I think I'll try Alice one more time because I see the box. Alice, are you there? Yes? No? I just don't know. All right. All right. I don't think she's gonna be here, so I'll give her a call when I'm driving home. Hey guys, it was awesome tonight. I thank you guys for showing up and having a wonderful read. It's so good to get out after being trapped inside. I'm sure Kathy can definitely agree with that. So
how's the teaching going?
It's there. Kathy and I were talking about this before. It's there. We're tired of the Zoom where the kids are just seeing their names on the black, the black box, and it's tough. A lot of kids I know are just, they log on and they don't pay attention to you, because I can tell I only have like 2 or 3 kids that turn on their cameras, and those are the guys that I know that are always doing their best. So the other ones I just don't know. I know I don't get a lot of work turned in anymore, so it's a struggle. Yep. What's up, Brian?
You think they're not paying attention. All my teachers, they didn't think I was paying attention, but 5 years later, I'm like,
I hope they're paying attention. I will tell you, I hope so.
Got A's and B's.
I do.
You're valued, brother. You're valued. Trust me.
I think we are. I know we are. So it's just tough right now. I know Kathy and I, we both rather be in our, if we didn't have the COVID stuff going on, we are definitely some teachers that like to be in front of the kids. That's for sure. Well, guys, we're Spilled Ink, and I just love you guys for showing up, and I hope you're hanging in there. I know there's check your chat right now.
Yes.
Healthy, everybody.
There's a link for tomorrow morning's meeting if anyone wants to join us.
I'll post all this stuff on the Spilled Ink Facebook page too, guys.
Great.
Awesome.
Okay.
And I've also posted the Zoom link for Poets Anonymous in the afternoon.
Oh, sweet.
All right, good. All right, so that I'll post this on the website or the Facebook page when I get home. Hey guys, be safe out there. We'll do it again in 2 weeks. You take care. Anybody else? Any more announcements? Anything?
I just wanted to say thank you, and this was a real treat tonight. So thank you guys for being so welcoming. I really enjoyed being with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounded great tonight.
Thank you.
Guys, take care. We'll see you later, okay?
Bye,
Have a good
everybody.
night, guys.
Good night.
Night.
And bye.
Night. Night.